Okay, welcome everybody to Super Castlevania 4 2021 Any% Tournament, and the match that a lot of you have been waiting for. I know I have. Tonight's matchup is JC versus DrunkenDraconian, two extremely high-skilled players, hands down. Obviously, JC, a man that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. The world record holder for CV4. But before we get into that, I am joined here in the commentary booth by the one, the only, Eagle-Eye Jones. Hello.
Hello, Retrophile, and good evening to everyone to this second round match of the 2021 CV4 Any% Tournament. And of course, like you said, this is the match we've all been looking forward to. So on the left side, we have JC, who is one of the most prolific runners of the entire speedrunning community, with podium places on every classic Castlevania game. And of course, like Retrophile already said, he is the world record holder in this game with a lightning fast 31:22, and he's been using the past week to get back in shape with his trademark 10x CV4 runs, sporting a new seasonal best of 31:46, so only 21 seconds away from his own world record. And his opponent on the right side is DrunkenDraconian, a very good CV4 Any% runner, whose official PB is a 34:06. But on top of that, he's also placed third on the low percent category, so that'll tell you right away how good of a player he really is, and how well he's acquainted with CV4. And make no mistake, he still has the fastest race time of the tournament so far, with a 35:10 in his first round match against Krunen, who is of course an excellent runner himself. So Didier has shown that he has nerves of steel and is able to keep very cool under fire. So, to say the least, this will be a very interesting match, Retrophile.
I completely 100% agree with you, and an excellent introduction for both these runners here. Truly, I mean, the level of skill here, I mean, we've seen some extremely competitive matches, hands down, but now that we're moving into round 2 and beyond, we're going to start seeing that bar continue to raise up. We're going to start seeing some strats that are going to be first time, maybe some more risk-taking that's going to be happening here. Obviously, JC and DrunkenDraconian, both very excellently skilled runners that are not afraid to take risks in this game. And I think that both of them at this point, there is some level of respect that they're going to have here, that they realize what they're up against and that they have to play at a certain level. So I'm curious to see what kind of decisions that influences today in this matchup. So, for example, Jones, just to ask your opinion here, do you think that JC is going to go for all the things, or do you think that's going to be more so on DD's side?
I know for a fact that JC will not be going for all of the things. He will not be doing the 1-2 clip. He said explicitly in his runs he won't do that. And we will see about if this is going to be the race to have the first deathless performance.
Yeah, that has been the elusive award throughout this entire tournament so far, is that every runner at this point has taken at least one death. I think Tin was the closest, taking an unfortunate death at the Dracula's Secret of all places, unfortunately, but perhaps today is the day.
Yeah, perhaps it is. I mean, it's already an established meme among the CV4 community that Tin don't pull a tin, which basically means don't die to a Dracula's Secret stash. So we're gonna take a look at that and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, while we've been talking here, the race is off and away at this point, and we're in the beginning here of stage 1, grabbing the crosses, getting the fully upgraded chain whip, and we have ourselves a nice sync here. So thank you very much to Manix for doing the restream on this one. And away we go. JC and DrunkenDraconian are probably pretty much even matched throughout here. I can't imagine that we'll be seeing too much of a difference until maybe about stage 3 or so. I imagine that's the first big hurdle that we'll see for these runners here. And we'll see if any of them is going to go for the clip. It does not look like that is the case. Going to keep things very consistent. You know, don't want to take an early death here out of the gate. Eagle-Eye Jones, any predictions of what you think the outcome of this race is going to be?
Very hard to say. I mean, JC, he is the world record holder, like we already established, but DD, he is just a damn fine runner, and he will do everything in his power to decide the race for him. And right out of the gate, he already has the better start. JC had a few minor problems with a bone pillar, but right now they're pretty much synced up, and it's really everyone's race. I mean, it's stage 1. Can't predict very much from that.
Now, we did see some variation in strategies there where JC did take some additional boosts. I mean, using the majority of the health that he has at his disposal. And they're going for these nice Medusa boosts as well. Again, we talked a lot about the health in previous matches. It's kind of like your currency to use to unlock damage boosts and go a little bit faster. And, this is no secret here in this level that every opportunity they have, we'll see they'll take the Viper Swarm boost here as well as we come down to the first boss, Rodane.
Yeah, now both perfectly synced up. It's like they had to play a synchronous match, and yep, they're completely synchronous.
Mm-hmm. And JC would actually the slighter, faster kill, and a beautiful Triforce. There's a trademark one
Beautiful.
to go with.
Yep, that's how we do it.
But that's it. Stage 1 in the books. 1 down, 10 to go, and still anything can happen by any means. This game is truly unforgiving. Every enemy, every pit, every bit of this game is just daunting when you play it at this level and at this speed, no less. And you just throw the tournament jitters and people watching. And speaking of, glad to have you all here for this one. Definitely gonna be a wonderful match. And for those that don't know, we'll get more into this later. But this is gonna be a wonderful weekend for the tournament as well. Lots of action lined up over the next couple of days. So definitely keep it here.
Yeah, very busy weekend. I believe we have 6 matches on this weekend, this being the first of the 6. And what a match to kick it off.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, Jones. So we're in stage 2 here into the swamp. This one's going to have Medusa as a bit of a mid-boss, and I use the term boss very loosely, hands down. But this is just going to come down to clean execution. Again, looking about half a second gap between JC and DrunkenDraconian, just very small from just minor optimizations in stage 1. And that's what it's going to be probably until we get to stage 3. That's going to be my main test here to see how things are going to go for the early game. But nonetheless, kind of just going through here, throwing your crosses, taking care of the birds as best as possible. Avoiding these frogs that can jump at low or high heights, but putting your crosses in the right spots is definitely where to go. And they'll be going across the bridge, and ideally they don't want to take any additional damage and not get a hug or a kiss from Medusa, so that they can use all of their health as possible on the river for all those boosts. But so super clean play, and pretty much as we'd expect it to be so far. But Eagle Eye, how about Medusa? What do you think about this one?
A very unspectacular, very unremarkable fight. They will both dispose of her very quickly.
Let's see if there's any variance in the patterns that they get. Nothing. Exactly the same. Just a steamroller pattern, but they handle it both well, and they're both walking into the river with full bars of health to work with and taking those full boosts. Now, coming down the river here, the main strategy is to try to stay with the current as much as possible, taking those bits of boosts to kind of go through there. They grab the invisibility potion here to kind of walk through some of this and stay within that current. There's some safety meat to grab here to unlock those additional boosts on the next screen here. We'll be taking 5 boosts, 2 bone pillars, and 3 gargoyles. Starting off the bone pillar across those orange spikes, which are one-hit deaths, so you have to avoid them at all costs. And sometimes if you take a jump that's just a little too good, you'll jump over that bone pillar on accident, and that can be kind of critical. But still, everything looking pretty good and pretty clean across the board here. Let's see if anyone gets the bad back boost from the gargoyle. Nope, they're getting that push forward. Grab this heart here before they go into stage 3. Let's talk about stage 3, Jones. What do we expect in this one?
Yeah, we're gonna expect some Mudman patterns. These can go completely wild. They walk right, they walk left, just as they please. But both are looking very good over the first set of Mudmen, and it's starting to get technical in this stage because we will have the ring glitch in stage 3 too, and we will see where the race is going from there. But so far, it's looking very good on both ends. DD a little bit slower. JC has gotten a not so good pattern on the Mudman. DD could catch up a little bit, but it's still they're still completely together and it's completely open.
Yes, I agree. So we saw that Double D got some good favorable patterns there with the Mudman walking toward him, whereas JC unfortunately had to take a hit there. You can see that he has a touch less health, not big of a difference. Oh, missing the fuzz boost there.
Yeah.
Trying to save those 12 frames by whipping it and locking it in place. But that's closes the gap slightly. We'll see how the ring glitch treats things offhand here, but I'm expecting within the first 2 tries.
Yeah,
Nice
JC having just a little trouble with the ring glitch. DD a little bit faster.
Yeah, so it looks like there may be some slight jitters here, or things getting adjusted to it at this point. JC, I think, had mentioned yesterday that this is actually right when he'd about wake up for the day. So trying to shake the cobwebs out and get warmed up in the process. I also noticed that DrunkenDraconian did kind of an homage to you there, Jones, by doing the double whip on the readjustment to make sure that it was good and well set.
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, I was like, am I the only one who's doing it like that? And it seems it's not the case.
And speaking about doing things like that, the eyeball boost cleanly done by JC, but however, it looks like DrunkenDraconian got hung up there and didn't quite get it, so that's going to be lengthening the lead for JC here. And both opting to kill that Bone Dragon. Right now, DrunkenDraconian's health it's okay. Definitely going to save up some for another boost that's going to happen here a little bit later on in the next screen.
Yeah, still looking good for both. I mean, they're still very close to each other.
Agreed. Now, biggest thing right now is that we're not going to see any ring snaps here because it's such a small time gain for a substantial loss potentially of up to 90 seconds if you missed that. JC getting a very nice ring glitch there. That one has another level of complexity added on top of it by the lag that's caused by being in that waterfall there. So it takes some additional adjustments, and it looks like DrunkenDraconian doing a nice job catching with up that as well, and we're coming into the Orphic Vipers. Eagle Eye Jones, tell us about this boss.
Yeah, this is the first very laggy experience in this game, because these Orphic Vipers fill half the screen and they just slow the game down painfully, so you just have to dispose of them very quickly, and JC did so splendidly.
We'll see if DrunkenDraconian can get a slightly cleaner kill out of the gator, because you can lop both their heads off in the upper left corner, as DrunkenDraconian did, closing the gap a little bit on that one. Very clean kills from both, but DrunkenDraconian definitely with the A+ blue ribbon prize for the Orphic Viper skill in this matchup.
Yep, that was pretty much perfect.
Coming into stage 4, the Abandoned Fortress, which is infested with many, many skeletons. We'll be having 2 bosses in this one, and basically this is the Mode 7 demo level stretching, skewing, zooming of sprites, and some very nice deboosts here from JC coming into this. Puexo will be the first one we'll hop up into here. Pretty straightforward, very similar to the Medusa fight. Just chuck a whole bunch of crosses and he'll pretty much die right away. Sometimes you can get some additional damage on you, but not too bad overall. I'm curious to see how the Coronaut fights go, because there's usually some variance there with how things go. We see JC setting up for Puexo right now.
Yeah, JC is I mean, he's very good at this game overall, no doubt about it, but he's especially good at Coronaut. His Coronaut fight is truly a sight to behold, so I'm very excited for it.
I really like DrunkenDraconian's kind of staggered cross throw approach there. Usually it's just kind of you throw all 3 in a straight line, whereas he actually overlapped the crosses by throwing one somewhat early. And now we come into this brief intermission, where you can basically either crouch down or do what JC's doing. Oh, yeah. Scary there from DrunkenDraconian.
DD going for the swag, but it almost cost him his life.
That's at least he was able to reset, and no harm, no foul on that one. But sometimes swag can be punished.
Yeah, JC he likes to go for the swag. I mean, it's all about it really for him. In this case, at least, he's been playing it pretty safe, and I guess he's been feeling some nerves at the start of the game. I mean, you could see it. Even someone of JC's caliber isn't resistant against nerfs, so it showed a little bit. But this one, he likes to do with style.
Okay, so after the Mode 7 tunnel of love here that we go through here, or the motion sickness tunnel, we'll be getting into 4-4. Eagle Eye Jones, any predictions about whether we'll be seeing the zip from either of these or both, and what to expect there?
The zip, I think we will see it from both. I mean, it really depends on the setup, how the bat flies in and everything. You can't just do it every time. The setup has to be the right one. But I think JC will be going for the zip, and I think DD will also be going for it.
We'll see here in a moment. We have to get these 2 jumps here. You can't bonk your head. Looks like JC gets it. We'll see if he sets up for it. It looks like he is.
Yep. Let's see. It's not the first time in this tournament. We already seen one. And yep,
Nailed
there
it.
he goes.
Nicely done. DrunkenDraconian opting not to do so, so that'll be about, I believe it's something to tune to 10 to 12 seconds right there within JC's favor, so he'll be extending his lead slightly outward, and from what you said, his Coronat is excellent, so DD is going to have to do some heavy work here to catch up in the process.
Yeah, he really needs to. I mean, they're still not very far apart, maybe 15 seconds now, but I mean, just look at that beautiful cross setup. JC making absolute short work of Coronat. Could have been a little better there, but still very, very good.
That's very clean, very minimal on the jumps overall, stacking the damage with the crosses and getting the early orb grab, no less. Very, very
nice.
Good. That's a tough act for DD to follow. Let's see what he can do.
Setup looking good.
Getting caught up a little bit by the bricks, but very nice recovery. I would say that's an equal kill pretty much across the board, and hopefully he has a chance to grab the early orb as well. We have our stealth of race. Look at this.
Wow, nice. Both of them.
And
we haven't had that before.
Skill.
Really cool.
That's what you like to see, hands down. Both of these runners putting on a hell of a show out of the gate here. Stage 5, no bosses to talk about except the timer itself is fairly short. Oh, and also the randomness here of the Harpies kind of dropping in those flea men. You'll see that the runners are going to be throwing crosses in front of them just to try to prevent that from happening, but thankfully you only have one screen to deal with them. It would be worse if it was 2 screens worth. And it looks like JC doing pretty decently. Took care of the Troll Harpy by throwing a whole mess of crosses, and things are looking good. 2 deboosts I think he'll probably take here. One off the bats, one off the Skeleton Knight, and he'll walk his way up to Castlevania to knock on the front door of Dracula and let himself in.
Yeah, and this is where the game starts to pick up on difficulty and also on level design. Stage 6, somewhat of a long level, and the first real test for our runners.
Yeah, it's a very long and varied level with some pretty punishing platforming sections as well. DrunkenDraconian also following suit, doing pretty good to kind of stay hot on the heels of JC. Again, only a single death separates these two at this point. Anything can happen. Still plenty of technical stuff to go, and I won't completely agree with you, by the way, that this is where the difficulty curve really ramps up, both within the speedrun and casually as well, since it's very demanding. I imagine that both will potentially go for the 1 cycle chandeliers, but we may see a more comfortable 2 or 3.
I think they will both be going for 2 or 3s. Can't imagine both of them doing the 1 cycle, but we'll see. Just in a second.
Could you tell us a little more about the 1 cycle there, Jones? What do we mean by 1 cycle?
It basically means we're crossing the whole cycle of these chandeliers in one continuous movement, as opposed to stopping and let the chandelier swing to the other side back.
Speaking of, looks like JC just got 1 cycle of chandeliers. That's the first time in the tournament, folks, right there.
Yep. I didn't think he would do it, but man, he pulled through with style.
Agreed. I mean, if you're feeling it and you're on point with your platforming, you definitely can go through with it, and does an excellent job overall. DrunkenDraconian trying to fall up, unfortunately falling a bit short. This will be a 2 cycle for him. So a small time loss overall, but that again is a very difficult act to follow. 1 cycle chandelier is one of the hardest tricks in the game, just based on very little leniency. I mean, you have to be very much on point with your jumps, and if you fall, unfortunately, you're going back to the beginning of stage 6 entirely, and you have to go get your cross in a pretty bad way. But both of them making it to the first checkpoint of this level. JC with a pretty good chunk to work with here, but DrunkenDraconian again hot on his heels, running really, really well. I'm very pleased with this for both runners at this point, and excited where this one will go.
Yeah, it seems like JC, he has warmed up. I mean, he literally has to warm up. His apartment is cold, his hands are cold, he needs to physically warm up to the game. So it seems like he did, but as you said, DD is still not very far behind, and both are putting on a very good show.
Right, you are there, Jones. And I have to say that, I mean, this game is extremely demanding, technically, as far as controls go. Even though that there's only 3 buttons, you know, jump, whip, and cross, plus directional stuff, there's a lot going on here. I mean, you're doing something pretty much all the time, save for, like, walking through the river in Stage 2. You can see all the jumps and crosses that they're doing in the process to make it through. And we'll see here. Let's see if JC can get the fast cross ring. Kind of pushes his way through. Nicely done.
Trademark coffin boost. Very good.
And DrunkenDraconian on the skeleton hallways at this point. JC taking some table boosts here and trying to avoid these RNG patterns of the dancers here. You sometimes get some pretty gnarly patterns you have to deal with some crosses. And I gotta say, I feel like I'm commentating at a breakneck pace because this is another level of skill at this point. Just trying to keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah, they're both really lightning fast, and like I said before, I mean, DD, he still has the best time in this tournament, and he disposed of Croonan, who is a very, very good CV4 player. So, I mean, this guy can play. He really can.
Right, you are. So, JC, a little bit of a Triforce there after taking care of dispatching Paula Abgul and Fred Asker. Again, blink it or you miss it. But it looks like from his side, the flames were slightly to the right of the center points. We'll see if DD can have a matched quality of that kill. JC moving on to stage 7, the giant library and the gallery. Looks like a little bit slower kill on DD's side. They made it a little further on the left-hand side from where they died there. So a small time game for JC. But again, DD nowhere near out of this at this point.
No, he really isn't. I mean, JC, his lead is getting bigger. DD has to work something out to make the gap smaller, and we will see JC going for the book jump. I'm very sure about it.
I'm sure as well. And it looks like he did not get the favorable axe. He did not get the low axe going into that.
Didn't.
And a nice book jump.
Did it cleanly.
So that jump there saves you don't have to wait for the book to actually go back and forth again. Saves about, I think, 3 to 5 seconds or so. Definitely a good chunk of time, hands down. Very consistent on JC's part. And DrunkenDraconian will also be going down there. Maybe he can get himself that coveted low axe boost across here. Maybe that'll give him some time. And the Knights are not playing nice, unfortunately.
Yep. Both didn't get the low axe.
DD coming up and setting up for the book jump as well, pushing himself to the edge.
Yep.
And cleanly done. So it's interesting to see that these skills here that are on display. I mean, they're going for difficult strats, but nailing them consistently overall. JC has been pretty clean after he's warmed up, so to say, and he's coming in to face Sir Grackle of stage 7, and he's got plenty of help to work with.
Yep. I mean, with crosses, this guy isn't a very big threat, so we'll just chip away at him, and that's it.
I don't even think he had a chance to unsheath his sword. He just threw his axe out there. He was already dead before he even had a chance.
Yeah.
Well, very nice. Well, DD will be making his way down there as well. Whereas, speaking about down, going down on JC's side here, going to be going to stage 8. And I'm going to expect that he's going to be betting on Vegas here, but we'll see how he feels when he gets there.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, stage 8 is just one big streak of deadly traps, and almost everything will kill you on this stage on touch. So you have to make sure to time your jumps very precisely, to time your boosts very precisely. There's a bunch of boosts in this stage that are very tricky, very technical, and a bunch of stair jumps that are even more difficult. So, let's see what JC.
getting the top route, getting the one frame jump.
Very nice, very risky.
Yes, indeed. And his health is very low here. DrunkenDraconian on his side, by the way, having another very good Sir Grackle kill as well, back to back, and keeping hot on the heels of JC because he has to keep the fire on as best as possible. And JC hitting all the things right now. This stage, like you mentioned, it's just one big giant gauntlet of death traps all over the place. If you stay on script and do the things that you know work well, and things act the way you expect them to, it's not too bad. But if you get off script or kind of get flustered or mess something up, that can be a very difficult thing to recover from in the stage, and it will punish you.
Yeah, and we're just about to see DD has some trouble with the eye boosts, not going the way he wanted to, while JC is already homing into the end boss of the stage, which is Frankenstein's monster. Let's see if he's betting on Vegas.
Oh,
Nope.
It's very early disappearing pattern there. Just kind of backed off for it. I can respect the decision, but I was waiting for the whip to come downward. But stage 8, he has a very forgiving boss, the creature, and basically all you can do is just kind of whip up into his armpit, throw some crosses at him, and he's done.
Yep. Are you the only one who betted on Vegas so far in this tournament?
As of this point, I believe so.
Something to keep. Oh, DD with a little trouble with the... I'd like to call them salads, but I don't know. What are they called?
I believe they refer to as corpse weeds. I'm not sure if that's entirely what they were called within the manual itself for CD4, but that's you would see them more so pop up in Soten that way.
Yeah, and DD wasn't able to take the boost past the crushers, and he opted to go for the potion, which will cost him additional seconds, unfortunately. And now he has to take a very safe approach with the rest of the stage, going very slowly, unfortunately, on his part, while JC is almost half through 9 by this point.
Stage 9, the Treasury. It looks like that DrunkenDraconian kind of walking his way forward there, kind of edging himself out. And that 5th platform trying to go out from underneath his feet. However, he does survive, and we are still both deathless on both sides. A fantastic job. And I anticipate that he'll make it to stage 9 here without issue, which he does. And speaking of, JC on his side about to get the first checkpoint of this one. This is a pretty rough checkpoint to get to. Lots of precarious pits and skeletons. Setting up with a nice cross here to take care of that fireball from the White Dragon. And does a real nice job of kind of squeaking himself by. He'll take a damage boost here. Jumps up the stairs. And skipping the meat there.
Yep, he's skipping the meat. I mean, you can really see he's warmed into this match now, and it's going very fluently for him.
Oh, wow. Spike jump, no less, folks. That is a pixel-perfect jump that you have to nail there. He does a very nice setup here to kind of help things out, but I believe that's the first time we've seen someone go for the spike jump.
I believe it is, yeah. It's, like you said, a pixel-perfect jump. It's very difficult. Pulled it off like it's no man's business.
I don't know what was happening there, where JC was apparently fighting the demons, whipping the air there out of frustration that he wasn't able to snap on the ring properly, but recovering nicely.
He talked about that ring snap, and that is a pretty risky strat for the time saved, so he tried it.
I can't blame him for that one here, but clearly right now, coming up to the stage 9 boss, Zap Bats. 22 hits to break this bad boy up, and you want to kind of make sure that's as low as possible to stack crosses on. See how he does.
Yeah, he always waits for the Zap Bat to move after he appears in, so to reduce lag. And he will. Not ideally, but still pretty good.
Not too bad. Definitely not where he wants it to be at jump cross level from this point. And we can see that the back gets away from a little bit. That is an opportunity for DrunkenDraconian to possibly open the door here and gain some time, but some much needed time, because right now he's running out of time. We're coming into stage A on JC's side, and that's the penultimate stage.
Yep, it is. It's, again, very technical and lots of difficult jumps you have to master. And really, one jump in the pit, and it could be in DrunkenDraconian's favor.
Yes, it's consistency versus JC kind of going all out for this race. I mean, really, he hasn't skipped out on much, for what it's worth. He's been putting on one hell of a show for us today.
Yep. So far, just skipped on the 1-2 wall clip. Nothing more.
That's basically it. Coming through here, we're getting some very nice clean jumps. Speaking of clean, DrunkenDraconian with a very clean climb up to Zap Bat on his side. We'll see how things go. JC getting a favorable pattern, able to despawn most of the teeth on that gear, reducing lag here severely, actually, which is quite nice.
Yep. He talked about this on one of his tutorials before, but I didn't think he was going for it in the race, so kudos.
It looks like it just basically just kind of getting the pattern where you want it to go. And looks like, speaking about getting the pattern where you wanted to go, DrunkenDraconian had a very nice low back kill, but getting bullied a little bit in the process here.
Yeah.
So
I can't say if he saved any time compared to JC's that fight.
I was about to say
maybe
the same
a few
thing,
seconds.
about even, maybe, at that point. And speaking of craziness there, wow, JC getting the very fast strat and opting to go for the Medusa boost up the stairs. The more risky of the two variants, you can actually get a boost off the axe instead of the Medusa head. And he does a nice job, nice little ring clip through the floor there, and he's almost up to Akmadan II.
Ooh, and he did, wow, nice.
Yeah, he is on one heck of a pace here. He's coming to the end of stage A as DrunkenDraconian, going into it, and it's not like DD took a death or anything. Like he's done a fantastic job.
I mean, he is running against the world record holder, and it seems like he's in very good form. He trained hard, and he just nails it. He's completely warmed into the game, and now it's his to take. Agreed.
So Akmadan II is one of the most heavily RNG-based bosses in the game, hands down. And he can give you one of 4 patterns with where he spawns kind of left-hand side, middle, far right, and also a little bit closer to the left-hand side. Unfortunately, JC got the worst pattern out of the bunch with that middle spawn, and then he got the favorable left-hand side. DrunkenDraconian taking death on the spikes, unfortunately.
Oh,
so
man.
he may not have that D-boost.
So there goes his deathless run. Didn't cost him too much time, the death, but of course he has to get the cross back now, so that's a little awkward for him.
Not too bad though. For that one, that's a low cost death, hands down, because you can get the cross back along the path. You don't even have to go off the path to get it, no less. So that's honestly that's not the worst thing to have happen. But still, I mean, you can see the gap already that's happening here. JC trying to keep the hope alive of having a deathless run. He's definitely on a great pace, and he wants to try to maintain that as much as possible. Coming into the first of 5 bosses here in Stage B, the Stairs boss.
Yeah. I mean, Stairs boss killed so many runs, so many good runners, and it's the one thing to always look out for. You have to stay focused 100% all the time during the ascent, and JC knows that. He will make sure to stay absolutely focused.
I'm seeing zero safety measures on his point, not even missing a beat here in the process, getting a nice ring snap
there. Ring snap, wow, cool. He's really taking all the tricks.
Yeah, you can tell he's feeling this one. Very nice ring glitch, popping himself up, saving all of the frames here, trying to just send a message. Getting a nice boost there from the Dullahan on the DrunkenDraconian side. Akmadan II also not playing nice, getting that middle spawn.
Very bad spawn. Yeah.
Advantages, unfortunately, you want to be very careful. Sometimes that way they can sneak behind you and actually kick you into the pit, and that has happened before.
Is he going for the safety meat left-hand side? Now up to Slogra. Can beat Slogger in a very, very, very fast time. He's shown that over and over. Let's see.
He did go for that meat there, just make sure that he had that full health to work with here. And DrunkenDraconian wraps up Stage A, moving on to Stage B. Ooh, the rare dash pattern on the on Phase 1 from on JC's side. Slogger not playing nice.
No, he's not playing nice. JC now going for a little safer approach. Just whip him down, evade his peak attacks, and that's it, he's down.
Slogger is done. 2 in the books, 3 to go. We got Gaibon coming up next. Gaibon and Slogger, of course, death servants, always close by. I mean, the room of close associates is referred to as, and this is where we stand. Gaibon, however, much, much more of a pushover in comparison to Slogra, and hopefully that he has a nice kill here in the process.
Yep. Not his best kill, but still very, very good. And his seasonal PB, like I said beforehand, is 3146. He won't be able to get a new PB on this part. But man, look at this. It's just an incredibly fast playthrough.
Yeah, this is blistering pace, hands down. Coming into death here as he forms forward, throwing a timing cross, and stacking his other crosses on top. A couple of well-placed whips to try to reduce some of those sides.
A little unfortunate. It was a little bit unfortunate with the stacking of the crosses, but it worked out good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not very pleased with that kill overall, but still, it's better than dying to death.
Oh no!
So DrunkenDraconian, however, going for that ring glitch at the top there, trying to save the frames as best as he can. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
if you're slightly askew, you can actually push Simon's legs into those spikes, and that is an instant death and a very costly one. Unfortunately, you know he's gonna be feeling that one.
Yep.
And JC coming into Dracula on the cusp of the first deathless run of the tournament here. Let's see how this goes.
I don't think anything will happen with Dracula, and let's just take in these beautiful whip cancels, like JC does, like none other. Look at this.
And also getting the meat here to work with, that machine gun whipping up it's basically being able to cancel your whip with another input while holding down the whip button, and then just being able to chain them together and just be able to just throw out the whip as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's just maximum punishment for Dracula. DD's making his way up. He got the double shot multiplier. Looking good for getting a third one just before Slagra.
A very nice backup strat.
That is the first deathless run of the tournament. Hands.
Extremely well done.
Put your hands together for JC, the winner of this second round match.
Moving on and sending DrunkenDraconian into the lower losers bracket. So he's not done yet, folks. I mean, I'm sure DD will clean up and do pretty well in the lower brackets. Definitely, we've seen his level of skill here today. I'm sure he's not entirely pleased with how things went overall, but nonetheless. And there it is, JC with a time of 32:38 on his timer, and now the first deathless run and one of the absolute fastest ones we've seen, and the fastest one we've seen in the tournament, hands down.
The fastest one so far was actually held by DrunkenDraconian. It was a 35:10, and that is now beat.
That is a very difficult act to follow, and sending a very powerful message that JC is worth the hype, to say the least here, and he's definitely come to play. And DrunkenDraconian taking care of Slagra on that side, moving on to Gaibon. Going to grab a couple extra pieces of meat here and the candles, get himself filled back up, and take care of the blue-winged demon.
I mean, DD, he knew who he was up against. I mean, come on. And he showed really what he can do. And I mean, his time is still fantastic. He died like 3 times now, so he's still basically in a very good pace.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely looking to still be a very comfortable sub 40. I mean, we're maybe looking at maybe a 37 with all those deaths there in the process. I mean, heck, that's still a very high level of skill, hands down. He was definitely the underdog coming into this. I know that he knew that. Everyone knew that kind of coming into this overall. But, I mean, seriously, he put on one hell of a show, too, in his own right.
Yeah, and it's a race. Anything can happen in a race. But we finally got that off our chest, our first deathless run in the tournament. So that is really worth something.
Agreed. A lot of nice firsts here. We saw the first spike jump happen today as well, no less. And some of those first kind of ring snaps that happened. No one has gone for the 3-3 ring snap yet, though.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see when that will happen here. Death, making short work of Death on DrunkenDraconian's side. 1 left to go, which is going to be Dracula. And he's skipping the secret. Going to go right into it. He's going to have short heart count, however, but since you had mentioned
bold
before,
move.
3rd in low percent, was that correct?
3rd in low percent, that is correct, yep.
So clearly he has no problem whatsoever working with just the whip against Dracula then.
No, he won't.
Alright, so Dracula's spawns are random to start for the first 3. The 4th spawn and everything that's a multiple of 4 from there on, he will always spawn on top of you here. So the next spawn we'll see will be right where he stands. Right there, yep. And that's how you can kind of keep track of it. I know that JC usually tries to go for like a 5 or 6 cycle with those machine gun whips, but usually a 7 cycle is pretty good overall. But it looks like that Dracula, however, not playing so nice for DrunkenDraconian.
No, not very good patterns, but still, I mean, he's basically history now.
And those are his last 2 crosses just to whip down this final phase. And we'll have this one in the books. Looks like this one's going to be probably like a mid to high 36.
Yep, like you said.
extremely nice overall. I mean, that's that's pretty dang close to his best time too, no less, in the run. Even with this one having a little more mistakes.
Yeah. Everything considered, very, very good race. I mean, he could have beaten pretty much everyone else but JC with his time.
Yeah, that was definitely a difficult opponent to go against. Obviously, that time that the DrunkenDraconian just put up would take care of most of the people in the tournament, hands down, on a good day, no less. And you have to believe he's going to hit the training after this one. Look back at this run and kind of work on what the areas he struggled with, hands down. But again, it cannot be overstated or understated. He did extremely well today up against the opposition that he had. And overall, very, very pleased with both their performances. This is one heck of a race and a great way to kick off the CV4 tournament weekend we're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. What a stunning race.
Agreed. So we're going to see if either one of them wants to pop in the booth here with us here. We'll ask maybe a couple of questions about how the run went and what they think. But Jones, what do you think about that in retrospect? How do you feel?
I felt, the hype was real before this race, and we saw from both players what it was all about and how the hype turned into reality with both of them. But of course, in this case, especially with JC, who had the first deathless run in this tournament, so everybody was looking forward to that, and we got it, man. We just got it.
Hello?
Hello.
Yep.
Welcome in, JC and DrunkenDraconian. Good to see you. Great race to both of you, by the way.
Good to see you both.
So, JC, congratulations! First deathless run of the entire tournament. How do you feel about that one?
Oh man, I had nervous movement all throughout. That's probably why. I probably would have died if I had gone for half the stuff I really wanted to go for, but was too nervous to do. And all it did was wind up making a bunch of nervous movement. I was worried the whole time, but it worked out.
It barely came through.
My throat hurts. The nervousness makes my throat dry.
Yeah, you had kind of a nervous start, didn't you?
A little bit, couple of nervous little bits of movement, and then almost missed the ring snap. The ring snap in stage 9. That would have probably killed me if I had gone for that. I got glued on the ground in a few spots, so that means I got to. That means I couldn't jump when I wanted to, and sometimes that happens right next to a pitfall, and that usually kills you when that happens.
Yeah, you were talking about that before on your yesterday's stream, that it's a silly thing, and it can go very, very bad. But you tried it, you didn't die, so.
Yeah, it was all right. I have trained myself, like whenever that happens, whenever the glue happens, to just just stop, just let go of the D-pad. Because odds are the next thing that happens is a pitfall because you're not jumping, or an enemy you bash into. The little things I train myself to for safety.
It's usually an early jump press, right?
Yeah. You just hit jump before you hit the ground. It's usually what happens. But you got to train part of the fundamentals of Castlevania 4. In fact, the hugest fundamental in Castlevania 4 is learning how to press jump the instant you land on the ground. And so if you're one frame early. Well, if you're frame perfect, you're optimal. But if you're one frame early, then you get locked. So there's a hell of a skill window there. You were talking about the one frame jump in stage A. I have an interesting strat for that. Like I've trained my thumb to know how to get that sweet spot between 1 frame and 0 frames. So I press the button so lightly that sometimes I get a 0 frame, sometimes I get a 1 frame. And I also let go of the D-pad there, so I let my momentum carry. And that's why I go for it in races. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother.
Oh, you did really well. I mean, you hit basically almost all the things from what we saw here. Very clean movement throughout there. And very well executed, JC. And DrunkenDraconian, welcome in as well. I'm sure that you knew what you were going up against, hands down. I think you still put on one hell of a show. I'm sure that you can kind of tell us here. How do you think that run went for you, and how are you feeling?
That run was great. Couple flubs in stage 8, and then things kind of took a nosedive after that.
And how were you feeling just going into this match, knowing you were up against the world record holder?
Oh, I was pretty pretty aware of that fact. I was just going to give it my best, and I mean,
Yeah, and you did.
that's really the best I can hope for. Is I get the best run possible for me, and JC messes up a whole bunch somehow.
Unfortunately, that was not meant to be.
It's a question of whether the mistake cost me a half second or 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And luckily, I didn't have any of the 90-second mistakes.
Yeah, I took a death in stage A on the second checkpoint. I got hit by the spikes going over the gear. But luckily, that's not like a super costly death race-wise, because your checkpoint's right there, and you can just kind of continue on, get your cross and your triple. It's not so bad, but you can't do any of the fast strats going up the vertical section.
Right.
I heard you
Yeah,
had a
that's
death
probably-
in stage A. What happened in A?
Oh, that was the I was going over the gear with the low spikes over it, and I did the boost off the Medusa head, and I did the turnaround. But I must have let go of down just for a second and forehead into spikes.
Oh no.
Yeah, and in B, I died doing the ring snap from the first set of moving platforms to the second set, and I was like, you know how you get stuck and you can just move up and down on the ring glitch, but I was like
Right.
1 pixel too far right and hit the spikes. I didn't realize
Yeah,
it until it was too
exactly.
late.
Yeah. It's kind of hard. Well, it's
Like
kinda
I
hard to hit
knew
that
it,
the right
but
way.
I didn't react quick enough. Essentially,
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
basically
the
the
other
top
problem is
spikes
when
that
you're
killed you.
facing the other way. Oh, sorry, I keep talking over people. The other
No
problem is
problem.
when you're facing the other way and you bonk on the tile there.
yeah.
Well,
I remember
guys, there-
early in the grind, I made that I used to make that I tried to make that a ring snap as best I could, where I just tap the button and try to
Yeah.
bounce myself up there, but it just doesn't work.
So,
guys,
so I got
Go
a
ahead, Bill.
question. One final question for you, JC. How do you feel about your time in a race environment, in a tournament environment?
Yeah, dude, any 32 is more than welcome. Yeah, I mean, my average is like a 33, 34, so I cannot complain about that at all. No deaths. I expect like at least a 32 on no deaths at this point.
And you did. You really pulled through. So congratulations again.
And that's the big thing. No deaths. That's the part that I'm happiest
Agreed.
about.
Yep. The first on this
Don't worry.
tournament, and you did not pull a tin because you didn't have to go to the stash.
Right. I was tempted to. My health was low for Dracula. I think I had about 5 health going up the stairs.
Yeah, it's always scary.
Actually, death. Yeah, of all things, death actually messed me up there. I mistimed my early whips, so I got bounced into the wrong spot and couldn't get my crosses off. So I had to whip them up down the rest of the way.
Speaking of there, DrunkenDraconian, I saw that you actually skipped the Dracula secret with 0 hearts in tow. You just kind of went up at it, and we were talking about your low percent experience there. So, I mean, how did you feel about that? Did you want to go down to the secret at all, or you're just like, I'm just going to get this done with?
Yeah, like I already knew that JC was finished at that point, so I just figured I'd go for it, a little bit of showboating, I guess. But yeah, honestly, it would have been faster to just pop down, pick up like 20, 30 hearts, and jump back out. Like I didn't even really care about my health as long as I have 5, 10 health, or 5 health going into the screen, 10 after you pick up the meat. I'm pretty okay with Dracula for that.
Hey, you did well. I mean, it was a good fight overall. I mean, you were able to hold on to 2 crosses that you had into phase 2, no less. But yeah, I mean, hands down, I would say just GG's to you both. A great showing of skill. We knew it would be. And a great way to kick off the weekend festivities that we have here. I think this is the first of 6 matches that we have lined up here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, there's a
Friday,
bunch.
Saturday, and Sunday.
I know JC is going to face Frozen Ice Flame in the next round. That'll be a good race.
Sounds fun.
Definitely.
I'll be sure to watch all the races in between.
I guess, yeah, speaking of here, just for some parting words here, JC, how do you feel about moving on to round 3? How do you, after this run today, how you feel? You feel a little more comfortable, or are the nerves always going to be there?
Probably the nerves will die down more and more throughout the tournament. until I take on Bruce. then they're gonna be the maximum.
And DrunkenDraconian, now that you're going down to the lower bracket here, how are you feeling about that overall? I mean, does that make you more nervous, or does that give you like the fire to kind of fight on here to kind of survive?
Oh, I'm gonna give it my all every race. Yeah, I just love this game, and it's fun to play, whether I'm playing it or a ridiculous meme category, you name it. It's just fun. I keep coming back.
We appreciate the fighting spirit, by the way. And guys, thank you very much for being a part of this, for lending your time, your talents, and your skills here. I think it was a wonderful watch for everybody involved here. I definitely enjoyed it, so thank you both for this one. And yeah, Frozen Ice Flame awaits you, JC, DrunkenDraconian. We'll see how things pan out for you down there in the lower bracket. I'm sure you'll do very well. Coming up this weekend here, we have a couple other matches on the books. Tomorrow, it's myself versus Just Defend at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, and on Saturday then looks like we have, let's see here, it looks like Shin David versus Jones. You have your match on Saturday, it looks like.
Yep, I do, on 10 p.m. that is, but we have one match before that. It's Stuff is Stuff versus Booga Booga. That is set on 6:30. So
and
that
those
is
are GMT plus 0 time. So for Stuff is Stuff, that's 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Shin David versus Eagle Eye Jones, that looks like that'll be 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yep. So quite a few number of matches to look forward to enjoy your weekend over, and we're very much looking forward to you having you back on the channel. If you haven't done already, please follow Castlevania Speedruns on Twitch so that you get notified when the matches are going to start.
Right, you are. Thank you guys, everyone, for swinging by and hanging out here tonight. Hope to see you guys back here again real soon, and have yourself a good rest of your evening. Thank you, JC, again, and DD. Thank you both. Heck of a race, and have a good rest of your evening as well.
Yep. Have a good one.